All right, welcome back to Norton Man Reviews. I'm John, and I'm going to be reviewing the Fallen Sun saga, the death of Captain America. Not much of a saga. This was recommended by one of my viewers, Paul Jane. If you're watching, thank you for the recommendation. He specifically said to do this one by David Finch. And I think they go in this order. I'm pretty sure. But this has to do with the fallout of the Civil War and when Captain America was killed. So, put this one a little bit over here. So these were written by Jeff Loeb. It's kind of a hit or miss writer sometimes. He's actually written my favorite comic storyline, Long Halloween. Batman Long Halloween, but he's also written some shit like the Ultimates Volume 3 and stuff. So hit and miss with Jeff Loeb, but I generally enjoy his stuff. So these issues basically deal with certain characters and how they deal with they individually deal with the death of Captain America. So you got Wolverine, the Avengers as a whole, Captain America, which is kind of focuses on Hawkeye, Spider-Man, and then Iron Man. So we're going to do all 5 of these issues in one video. I haven't looked at these in quite a while, so bumped this camera. So I know the storyline more or less, but yeah, let's get going. Awesome covers by Michael Turner. He's a great artist, dude. I mean, he excels at drawing, sexy women, but he can draw the badass guys too. So, he didn't do a lot of interiors at that time, but he was just doing a lot of covers, because that's where you make some money. So let's get going. This in here is drawn by Lionel Francis Yu. I think that's how you say his name. Lionel Yu. And I really enjoy him as an artist. I think I first knew him on when he was drawing Wolverine, and we'll definitely look at more of his art as we're going forward, especially Ultimate Wolverine versus Hulk and Secret Invasion. So, some barber shop or some rundown place, and a couple of guys are talking, and this guy's like, I don't buy it, not gonna argue about it, like, Captain America was shot, you can't deny it, he's dead. And they're just like, yeah, but maybe he's not dead. And who you find out it's Bucky and Wolverine. And they're in this barber shop, and I guess it used to be a safe house entrance or something for Nick Fury. Yeah, because he's trying to figure it out here. So Bucky figures it out, and like he opens up this trap door, and he goes, falling through. And they're talking. Wolverine and him had a history, they found out, but they're fine with it now. Flashback to Bucky and Captain America, when their shit went down. So Bucky's like, what do you want from me? And Wolverine's like, they say Cap's dead, but he's like, we need to identify the body. We need to make sure. He's like, you're going to go to where his body is held by Iron Man and the government, and you want me to come along? He's like, yeah. He's like, no, I'm not going. I got my own agenda. It's like, fine, suit yourself. He's like, he's like, hey, if you do see him, say hello for me. If he's not dead or whatever. Hell's Kitchen, you got Daredevil jumping around. Now, this version of Daredevil, I don't think is Matt Murdock. I think this is Iron Fist, Danny Rand. Wearing his outfit. Can't remember though. But it's quiet, and then this cool double page splash. Wolverine comes bursting through, Daredevil like jumps out of the way for whatever reason. He's like, "Did you think you could sneak up on me? I could smell the beer on your breath for blocks from here." And Wolverine's like, "Yeah, but there's like, where is it? There's 2 or 3 of you guys running around in the costume. I had to know if I was talking to the real Daredevil. So maybe this is Matt Murdock." I do know that Danny Rand was in his costume at one point. And he's like, "Those heightened senses of yours could come in handy at peeling back the truth." So he wants his help to identify Captain America's body to make sure it's the real one. But he's like, "You're going to be arrested on sight. How are you going to plan on getting around that?" So Wolverine says, "I got a guy. I know someone." And who is that guy? I don't know. So now we're on S.H.I.E.L.D. helicarrier, and S.H.I.E.L.D. people are talking. Oh, the guy is a Doctor Strange, and he's doing a cloaking spell to get them on board of the S.H.I.E.L.D. helicarrier without being noticed. But he's like, "It's exhausting my physical body doing the spell, so you've only got 10 minutes. So they're sneaking through. It's like, "Wait, you said Cap's body was being kept below." "Yeah, well, we got a little detour," Wolverine says. And it's like, "We didn't come here for Cap. I can hear who they've gotten locked down. I won't let you kill him." It's like, "I'm counting on it. I just want to ask some questions, and you're going to be the lie detector." So they sneak through, and who is it? It's Crossbones. He was the one in the Captain America comic after Civil War who pulled the trigger and shot Captain America, according to the public. Now, it was somebody else entirely who actually shot him. If you know, you know. If not, I'm not going to spoil it here. But he can see and hear us. He's the only one through the spell. So they're talking. He's like, "I shot at him, but I didn't get the kill shot." So Wolverine says, "I've seen the news footage. That makes you an accessory. Or maybe he wasn't shot at all. What's the gun for? I borrowed it from one of the guards out front." And what is it for? They're talking like, "Is Cap dead? He'd better be." Daredevil saying he's telling the truth, or what he thinks is the truth. And he's like, "What's the gun for? Why'd you bring that gun here, Wolverine?" So Wolverine's trying to get the truth. Who hired you? Was it Red Skull? And what he's doing, he's like, he's kind of baiting him into it. He's like, "You're probably not even the real shooter. You're just a joke." So he picks up the gun and shoots Wolverine. And, he's like, "Die laughing." What? Does that die laughing? Blam, blam, blam. So he shoots Wolverine. Wolverine, of course, he can take it. He's got healing factor. It's like, that's what the gun was for. An excuse to fuck him up more, I guess. He's like, "You got 3 to tell me who shot Cap. 1, 2, with his claws. 1, 2. And Daredevil stops him. You think just because he shot at you, you've got the right to kill him in like self-defense? Is that why he brought me?" He's like, he doesn't know anything. So Daredevil stops him. Wolverine punches his lights out. So Daredevil says, "We've got to get back." Wolverine says, "I'm not going with you. I got something else. And before you ask, it's not about Crossbones. Thanks for helping out. You've had enough trouble in your life, Murdock. Don't add mine. So just get out of here." So Wolverine, he goes to this coffin with a flag draped over it, opens it up, sniffs, and you hear, that's Iron Man's little dialogue box. He says it's him. And there Iron Man is. He's like, "That's why he came to visit, isn't it? To make sure." And like, these guys were all, Avengers buddies up until this point. Wolverine wasn't involved in the Civil War, but he was probably like Captain America more than Iron Man, and like had more respect for him. But Iron Man has respect for Wolverine. And there's like 12 seconds ago, you popped up out of the sensors, probably Doctor Strange doing, right? And he basically says, "Cap's dead. You're going to have to accept that." And Wolverine tells him, "Are you telling me or yourself?" And he says, I don't see a shield. Where's his shield? How are you going to play this? He's like, Steve Rogers dead, but Captain America's going to live on. And so they're getting into a little bit of an argument about, like, he was my friend and everything too. And Wolverine's going to leave. And he's like, Iron Man tells him, where are you going? You're under arrest for violation. Wolverine tells him, you're going to let me go and give me transport. And he's like, you're going to let me go because you want me to go back and tell anybody who had hope, who are in denial, like Luke Cage, Spider-Man, the other Avengers, that I've got proof. And, oh yeah, Hank Pym, Giant Man, they're stopping him, that's his hand. And Iron Man tells him, let him go. And Wolverine says one last thing, if I find out you had anything to do with Cap's death, Stark, I'll kill you. And that's the end of that issue. Just most of these issues are just like kind of one and done. They're loosely tied to each other, but they're self-contained stories for the most part. All right, so Wolverine jumped onto the SHIELD helicarrier, snuck on there with Daredevil, figured out that it was Captain America's death, tried to get some information out of Crossbones. So now, of course, like, you got Michael Turner, you got to have an opportunity to draw one sexy woman, so we got Spider-Woman on the cover. This is the Avengers issue, done by Jeff Loeb and written by Jeff Loeb, art by Ed McGuinness. So you got the Mighty Avengers, you got the New Avengers. Not Mighty Avengers are new at this time. Has a lot of powerhouses like Ms. Marvel, she hasn't gone by Captain Marvel yet, and Wonder Man here. And then the New Avengers. So somebody's coming up in this big trench coat to this look like this rundown building, and it's the Thing, and he's trying to he forgets how to open this door with this, because they're in the Sanctum Sanctorum or wherever, but it's like has a illusion cast that it's something else. So Thing's trying to get in. What are these two doing? They're talking about they're tracking down Tiger Shark, a supervillain. So they're going to go get him. All right. So back and forth between these two. They're talking to Iron Man over communications. He's like, told them that Wolverine popped up on the helicarrier, and it's like Doctor Strange's guess. And you see some of the other, you got Ares here, and he's a kind of a badass. He's like, I'll happily cleave both Wolverine and Strange in half, given the chance. And then suddenly Ben Grimm is inside here in the Sanctum. I don't know how much he was involved in Civil War. The Fantastic Four were a bit, but I don't think Thing was very much. I know Mr. Fantastic was with Iron Man, Invisible Woman, and Human Torch were with Cap. All right, so it's going back and forth between these, right? They're talking about the Wolverine thing, and these guys are coming in to do what? We'll find out in a second. Spider-Man, he's depressed, so he's wearing his black costume, which I thought was kind of cool. But he's fucking sad, and he's crying underneath that costume. So they are coming up onto where they're supposed to go. They're doing a mission, Avengers Assemble. And he says his thing, it's clobbering time when he comes up. He's like, hate to tell you, boys and girls, but it's clobbering time. Oh, I forgot. They're going through the stages of denial, I guess. Or of loss. So, yeah. First stage is denial. They're all in denial. Now we're in the anger stage of coping with loss. All right, Mighty Avengers are fighting Tiger Shark, and he has some giant squid octopus thing. And what the New Avengers are doing, they're playing poker. Thing came to play poker with Luke Cage, Iron Fist, Spider-Woman, and Spider-Man. And you know, Thing wants to see the eyes of, who he's playing with. He doesn't like them wearing their masks. Whatever. Back and forth. Fight. Talking about wearing masks and trust and where do you stand with Hydra these days. They're arguing. They're all still pissed off. And Spider-Man says, like, just sit down. He's trying to psych you out. She's like, oh, okay. Ares fighting this creature up here. And, like, so Iron Fist put his mask on. It's like, they gotta wear that. And so Thing is kind of like, oh, come on, you guys in your masks. And Cage is like, let's just play cards. Ash Shot fighting Tiger Shark. He wants to beat the Avengers and get some respect. Spider-Man is like, are we going to talk about it? The death of Captain America. But they're just talking about the game, I'm good, I'll take two. Spider-Man sees the empty seat. He wants to talk about it, but no one else wants to. And he just lays his head down and folds. Spider-Man is just fucking depressed. Cool, long, skinny panels. Talked about those before. They can be very fucking hard to do. Fin Fang Foom shows up, apparently. And then you got the New Avengers. They're hanging out with the New Avengers, and they're going out on patrol. And they're like, yeah, we're here to beat up bad guys instead of fighting each other like we used to. Remember that? So they're just kind of arguing. Everyone's pissed. Fighting... What's going on up here? I can't even tell. Wasp must be going down the throat of something. Poker, fighting, sadness, anger, all this stuff. Black Widow, she's trying to do what she can do, but what's she gonna do against Fin Fang Foom? Sentry is there. He's a fucking badass. He just picks him up and throws him. So he was late. He had therapy, but he's done now. Wolverine shows up. And he just got done finding out, about Cap's actually dead on the helicarrier. And they're asking, so what'd you find out? And they said the chair's for Steve. Wolverine says he won't be needing it. And Wolverine tells him, I saw the body, saw Iron Man too. And Spider-Man's still in, like, a little bit of a denial, and he's angry. He's like, it's a LMD or a robot thing or S.H.I.E.L.D., and Wolverine just says he's gone, okay? Captain America's dead. Spider-Man's just like, shut up! Just pissed off. They're ready to fucking throw down. Wolverine's like, get your fucking hands off me. He's got my got his claws popped. Everyone's pissed. I mean, it's an anger issue. Fighting up here, the big squid monster and Tiger Shark. Ms. Marvel's pissed that he's endangering people, doesn't care if people get hurt. He just wants the respect of beating the Avengers. Spider-Man is beating the fuck out of Wolverine, yelling at him, you'll never be a good man like Cap was. And Wolverine has had enough. I've seen one dead body tonight. You want to go for two? Back with the new event, the Mighty Avengers, Namor shows up. And he's like, quit fighting the sea creature. I've got this horn. I guess Tiger Shark was using that to control it. And like, I'll take care of the fucking big monster. And I'll take care of Tiger Shark. He'll be dealt with in the underwater kingdom. It's like, however, if I find out that the missiles hidden in this coastline are directed at Atlantis, there will be much anger and not so easily dismissed. I don't know if that was a plot point that I missed. And he's talking here. What did you hope to accomplish, Carol Danvers? That if you beat this wretched man to death, your heart would ease the pain of losing Captain America? And by taking your anger out on these misguided beasts, you'd somehow feel better? basically like telling them, you guys are just beating up people just to make yourselves feel better for losing him. So we go back to the New Avengers. Thing gets in the way of Wolverine and Spider-Man, tells him to knock it off. And he says, I ain't anybody to be setting any examples, but getting angry over this ain't going to change the fact we lost one of the greats or the greatest. Spider-Man, he's just fucking sad, and he's just says, I'm gonna go home. And Wolverine, they were just about to, like, he wanted to kill him a second ago. He says, I'm gonna shadow, make sure he gets there in one piece. And they're just, yeah, you do that. They're angry, but they're pissed. So Ares says, did we win? And Ms. Marvel says, yes, we won. And he says, good, it's all that matters. He doesn't give a fuck about Captain America or anything like that. And Thing says, are we playing cards or what? Shut up and deal. Everybody's angry, everybody's sad. So, where are we next? Chapter 3. Fallen Sun. Jeff Loeb still writing, and this time we have John Romita Jr. I like that each one of these were done by different artists, and every single one is done by someone who I like and respect as an artist. I enjoy their work in one form or another. Not a lot of people enjoy John Romita Jr.'s artwork, and they say he's like a horrible artist, and I don't think that could be farther from the truth. He may have a style that may not be appealing to some people, but the way he can tell the story and craft a story and his angles and anatomy and everything are top notch. He has been around a long, long time. He knows what he's doing. I've always enjoyed his work. So, where are we at? The abandoned Avengers mansion, and someone is sneaking up, has a bow and arrow, must be Hawkeye, and he shoots something into the sky and causes a flash of light. And there's Iron Man. And he's like, you're trespassing. So Hawkeye is alive now, even though he died. He come back in House of M, I think. But not everybody knows that. Iron Man says, I don't know who you think you are, because he thinks he's dead. But he's like, you do know me. I'm Hawkeye. And he gives him like his priority code, his password. And so now we're at bargaining. We went through denial, then anger, now we're at bargaining. So Iron Man is able to identify that he is Clint. He is the real Hawkeye, even though they thought he was dead. And he wants to talk about Captain America dying. But Iron Man comes down and just decks him in his face. Wham! Knocks him out cold. So here they have him, and they're still trying to figure out, is he real? Is he a clone? But the DNA matches. He could be a clone, but we don't know. And the gut talking to this, whoever this is, Dr. Coyle, whoever. She says that my gut tells me that this is the real guy. And Iron Man, I mean, that's a cool shot. I like the, in the back the tank and the backlit and the shadow on this, with all the technical shit going on above here. Cool image. But they want Hawkeye. The country needs him, they say. So now they're talking, and what they're talking about, Steve was assassinated. They want to know what's being done about it, and Iron Man, Tony, says, come here, I want to show you something. And they have Captain America's shield. It's the real one. They had two others made, perfect replicas, for one in his coffin and one to be displayed at the Smithsonian. And he's like, what are you going to do with this? And he's like, you want to take it for a spin? It's kind of like the Falcon Winter Soldier storyline. Captain America's dead, and they were giving it to U.S. Agent, or whatever his name was. he becomes a U.S. agent. But in this storyline, they want Hawkeye to become the new Captain America. So he's flinging the shield. He says, I feel like I'm diddling my best friend's wife, just fucking around with the shield. And he throws the shield, comes back, and Hawkeye is able to catch it. And he's like, what are you smiling about? And he says 73 highly trained agents took turns throwing at it. 73 of them are in the hospital. Nobody could control or handle the shield. But because of his unique ability of being a marksman, he was able to catch it perfectly. It's all about accuracy, he says. And he basically says they want him to be Captain America. And they're arguing, Steve Rogers is Captain America. And even though they used to like argue back in the day, he's remembering some earlier their times. And he says he's had a lot of different identities in the past. Hawkeye, Goliath. You've been trying to find your identity. And it's like, why not this one? So they go to some place and there's this... Somebody's fighting this guy named Firebrand. Somebody with a bow and arrow. So they're fighting. You have Iron Man and Hawkeye up on a roof up here looking down. I'm like, who the fuck are these guys who's fighting this person? And it's the Young Avengers. You got, she's calling herself Hawkeye. What is his name? Patriot. I wanted to say Young Justice, but that's that cartoon, which was fucking awesome. But he's like, I'm more interested in the girl with black with bow and arrow. So this is the first time Hawkeye had met Kate Bishop, who she's calling herself Hawkeye. So she shoots an arrow at him. He catches it, and it turns into this shit that extinguishes him, basically. Hit a fire hydrant, extinguishes them even more. But they're still vigilantes, these guys. They're not registered or anything. So they're like, okay, here we go. Time to work. And so they come down and they start going, shooting at Iron Man because they're fugitives. Shoots an arrow, and it's an EMP arrow. And it takes out all the light. It's hard to see. It takes out all the light in Iron Man's armor. Makes him crash down. So they got a getaway. T'Challa gave him the EMP arrow. That's funny. So they're about to go and escape through the sewer, but then the shield comes bouncing around, and a hand reaches up and catches it. And look, it's Captain America. And that's a pretty cool shot. The lightning back there and the introduction of Hawkeye wearing this outfit. But they don't believe it's him. They know Captain America is dead. They have seen him before, even with a mask. They can tell it's not him. And they're mad at him for calling themselves Captain America. And it's like, well, that's like what? Calling yourself Hawkeye? She tells him, I don't have to explain to you, dressed like that. I wanted to do it to honor him. And if Hawkeye were alive, I'd call myself something else. But it was the real Captain America who offered me that name and the bow. So he's like, oh, he did? And they're just saying, we're trying to be heroes. We're learning the job, inspired by heroes. We're not pretending to be a fake hero. So they're just arguing. You may look the part, but I never dressed up as Hawkeye. Even when he wore a headband and a skirt. That's funny. Years later, people are still making fun of the fucking skirt. And they're like, that's a copy of that's not the real shield, right? And they say, good work, Cap, for stopping them. But he's like, we're letting them go. We're not going to take them into custody. And like, no, that's not how we do things. And he tells them just to leave right now. So they fuck off down into the sewer. Iron Man tells him, you're making a huge mistake. He responds, won't be the first time tonight. So they start arguing and debating. And he says, you almost had me. You're charming SOB. You can take emotion and make it almost sound like logic. Just like how you got everyone to support the idiotic registration. They're really making Iron Man to be kind of a dickhead throughout this series. I mean, you can kind of understand his point of view, but they're making him seem like he's the misguided one, that he's making wrong choices. So they're saying the country needs a Captain America, especially now. And he says, people do or you do, Tony. So he takes off the mask and he gives him back the shield. You reached out for the thing you know best. You tried to make a deal. You tried to bargain. You know, bargaining is the name of this issue. And so make a bargain so it would all go away, and you can't. And neither should anybody else, including especially me. And he's like, wherever I'm going, I'll send you the outfit. And he says, if you return to Luke and the rest, the vigilantes, the fugitives, I will come after you. And he yells Clint, but he doesn't say anything, and it just ends with Iron Man by himself with the shield. So try to get Hawkeye there to be Captain America, but he wasn't having any part of it. All right. So now we're on to Spider-Man. Again, beautiful cover by Michael Turner. I love Spider-Man in that black costume. They returned him to this black costume because he was sad. You know, he was wearing black because he's emo or whatever. But he wasn't in this costume for very long, and that kind of sucked. I liked him in the black outfit. All right. Chapter 4 by David Finch. I've always enjoyed David Finch's art. I really enjoyed him on the New Avengers run. I'm sure we'll look at more. He was involved with Jeff Loeb in doing Ultimatum in the Ultimates, basically fucking up that entire universe to the point where it's unreadable after that to me. It's not the same after they killed so many people. So who do we got here? That's kind of a cool separation between the two. It looks a little, I don't know. Is that in proportion? It's hard to tell. What do I know? But he's looking at Mary Parker and Richard Parker and Ben Parker's graves. So this is Spider-Man. Yep, it's Spider-Man. We got a lot of dialogue going back here. His inner monologue, like they do. And he's talking about how, you know, all the people that he's lost, his parents, Uncle Ben, Harry Osborn, Captain Stacy, Gwen, obviously, now Captain America is dead. Now we're in depression. So we went through denial, anger, bargaining. Now we're in depression. Isn't there more stages than just 5? Whatever. I like all the detail that Finch puts into these statues. That's some cool shit to draw. Spider-Man, he looks extremely tall. Those legs are really long. I mean, traditionally, to keep things in proportion, the top of the head and the bottom of the groin usually should be the same length as the legs. That's not the case here. His legs are a lot longer. So his feet should probably be stopping right there, maybe. Yeah. Or like elongated torso here. Maybe his head just needs to be bigger. You know, head up here. I don't know. I'm sure he knows what he's doing way more than I do. In fact, I'm sure of it. I like these statues back here, and this is a very interesting one, if you know what that is. But I like this. I'm currently in the middle of a comic book that I'm drawing with some cemetery and stuff like this. And I just get lazy doing some of this. I need to take more time into doing some details on trees and shit like this. Just shows me how, like, where I fail, where I lack, which is mostly my patience. All right, let's get into the story, though. So, his spider sense goes off suddenly. Even though he's, you know, he's trying to mourn Captain America and all the other people he's lost. So he throws on his mask and goes jumping around. Now, is he jumping from here to there? Yeah. And he goes to this guy who's also there at the cemetery. He has a hat on. It's raining. And he says, I know I ain't come to see you as much as I should, but things are bad right now. This guy's talking to somebody, probably a fucking headstone or grave. And Spider-Man doesn't want to fight this guy, but his spider sense is going off and is like, and if I don't stop him here, with his luck, he'll kill the X-Men or Fantastic Four, and I'll have that on my conscience too. And it's Rhino. I guess Rhino can never get out of this fucking suit. Makes sense. How are you going to get out of that? How do you take a fucking piss, though? Or shit. So Spider-Man just goes at him. He knows it's Rhino, and he's just beating the fuck. You know, he ain't having it. He's just fighting him. Attacking him. And Rhino, he's like, what the fuck are you doing here? Like, just leave me alone. Spider-Man's making jokes like he does, even though he's upset. And Spider-Man's like, what? This is just a big coincidence that we're in this cemetery at the same time? Rhino, just, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Like, awesome art by Finch. I mean, look at all this detail in this, the steam coming out of his nose. That's funny. Weird neck muscle anatomy, cool Spider-Man webs. Just good detail by Finch. I like he swings and Spider-Man ducks here. And then while he's down, Spider-Man kicks upwards and knocks him back, and he stumbles and he hits this gravestone. What does it say? Miriam Sisted beloved mother. It must be his mom. This is a cool down shot. The rain going down. I like David Finch, man. Look what you made me do. And now he's fucking pissed. Damn, man. Look at that face. That is a face only a mother could love if she weren't dead and her headstone broken. Crazy fucking muscles. Now, if he's in a suit, do the muscles... How does it... Oh, what am I trying to, like, rationalize this shit for? But he charges at him. Busts Spider-Man through this fucking headstone there. And he says, I was visiting my mother. I just wanted to be left alone. And Spider-Man's thinking, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm messed up again. But he can't stop thinking about Captain America and how he had, why he had to die. So fucking picks Spider-Man up by the foot, smashes him through one, and then throws him up against another. And somewhere in the back, somebody's watching, see the snicked. So there's Wolverine. And that's what we had back here. There's Wolverine watching him the whole time. Like, why couldn't you leave me alone? And then Spider-Man is kind of interesting. He starts flashing back to a fight he had with Hulk. Very similar stuff, and it's mirroring, this big hulking guy coming over, thinking he's going to be dead, and he just wanted to be left alone. Hulk just wants to be left alone. Spider-Man's fighting him. It's like the first or second time I went up against the Hulk. And again, mirroring the shots. He's down on the ground. Spider-Man's down. I like how he made him a little bit skinnier. Not as toned, muscular-wise, because he was probably more of a kid back here. But he's going to, come smashing down on him. Oops. Oh. That's fucking weird. And this is kind of cool because back in that time, Captain America intervened and stopped Hulk. So he uses that memory and being inspired by what Cap did to like stop Rhino. So Hulk pounds down there and he stops with the shield, but Spider-Man here just stops it with his fucking spider strength. Spider-Man is a strong motherfucker. Sweet fucking art. I like David Finch's art, the use of the shadows here. I mean, this would be a fucking hard piece to compose, right? So, punches Rhino in the stomach, just like Captain America punched Hulk. Webbing him up, taking away his vision, just like Captain America did, hitting him in the face, probably like making him cause blood to go into his eyes. Just being inspired by Cap. Giving him a final punch, just like Cap did, but with Spider-Man's help. And Spider-Man just thinks, he's like, what are we going to do without you? And he remembers that Spider-Man was like, why are you thanking me? I'm a nobody. It's like, not to me. I couldn't have taken down the Hulk without you. And he says Captain America could have taken down a mountain if he wanted to. But at that moment, Captain America noticing me, it made me everything I'd seen worth it. And, you know, again, I've talked about, like, if you wanted anybody to come to your rescue, if you were like, everything seemed down, all hope was lost, who was the one person that would make you want to step up and fight and just fill you with hope? It's Captain America. More so than Spider-Man, more so than Superman, in my opinion. So, Wolverine's there. Like, looks like you got that handled eventually. And he knew Wolverine was there. I'd like to say I knew Wolverine was there the whole time, but I can't. Oh, wait, he didn't know he was there because, yeah, Wolverine's fucking smart-ass ninja guy. It's like, why'd you follow me? No reason. And last time they had words last time they saw each other at that poker game. They were about ready to throw down, but Wolverine, he's like, he's a good guy. Wolverine deep down is a good guy. So Spider-Man says, just leave me the fuck alone. I like that shot, all in the shadows. Spider-Man goes back in the city. Cool fucking city scene. Spider-Man knows that he was followed by Wolverine, can't take no. And he's like, I'm just making sure you had a rough night. You're going to make it home okay. I know what you're going through. He says, you have no idea what I'm going through. No idea. And he's up top on the bridge here. And this is when Gwen Stacy was murdered by Green Goblin, but Spider-Man's fault. And Wolverine says, this is where your girlfriend died, isn't it? And let's see, Wolverine's going to give him some words of encouragement. When Cap was putting together New Avengers, your name came up. A few of us thought that you weren't right fit, that you weren't Avengers material. But Cap laid down the law and he told us all how you saved the day over and over without taking credit. And he's basically saying, you are a hero. And Cap was telling us that when the first time New Avengers were made. And if Cap says that, who are you to argue? And Spider-Man's like, wow, you're a fucking liar. He's like, I don't know if I've met anybody more full of shit than you. Wolverine wasn't there at the beginning, and Spider-Man knows that. We were there, and you came in late. He's like, yeah, okay. You really think I don't know what you're going through, though, me? And then he basically tells him how he's feeling. You're feeling sick, you have a hole where your stomach should be, all that kind of stuff. Wolverine's gone through plenty of loss in his life, so he knows what's going on. And Spider-Man's like, I think I liked it more when you were at least pretending to make me feel better. And Wolverine's like, you'll heal, you'll get over this. Spider-Man asks, when does it go away? Wolverine says, you already know the answer to that. Or else you wouldn't have been standing in that cemetery tonight. You want to know why it's called depression? Because it is depressing. A death isn't like losing a job or getting divorced. You don't get over it. You have to integrate it into your life, learn to live with it. But life does get better. Someday, it's the best you can hope for. Someday. So that's all interesting. I've never really, I mean, the day will come, I'm sure, but I've never had to go through anything like this. I've never lost anybody to this extent. I'm sure, I wonder if those that have, if this resonates with them at all. So there we go. This is, what was this? Depression? Yeah. Sad comic. But Spider-Man and Wolverine, David Finch, cool stuff going into this issue. I really enjoy it. All right. One more to go. Fallen Sun. Iron Man. Done by Jeff Loeb. Drawn by John Cassidy. Now I know John Cassidy has been in the news, or one of his pieces of art has been in the news lately where it just looked really, really horrible. And it did. But John Cassidy is a good artist. And I'm sure this is going to be we're going to see some of that good art. Another cool Michael Turner cover. Let's see. Fallen Sun, Chapter 5. Which one is this? Doesn't say yet. All right, so we're at a funeral. Coffin being taken through, and I think it's at the Capitol. It's on the news, and you hear the news reports. And who do we have carrying it? You got Iron Man. This must be Sam Wilson. Ms. Marvel. Black Panther. Ben Grimm. And that's Rick Jones. He was a former Captain America partner. He was with Hulk at one point. And there was a Captain America statue designed by blind sculptress Alicia Masters, who was a dated thing, done other things. So this is a fucking, like, the image, like the tilting of the camera angle is really good. Got all this this background of these extras, you know, this crowd, you know, the guards or whatever they're called. I'm sorry, I don't know. Lined up. You know, military funeral for a hero. Tony Stark is the first speaker. And he kind of stumbles. He has a speech prepared, I'm sure, but he's still, you know, he was a friend of Captain America's. And he's dead now, and Thing says, "You think he's drunk?" This is a Human Torch. Wasn't supposed to be this way. Close up on Iron Man's eyes right there. John Cassidy is a badass motherfucker when it comes to art. But he just leaves. So now we got Falcon, Captain America's real best friend. Let's see. Folks called him Captain America, Cap, Winghead. Once or twice he was no bad. And believe it or not, Cap Wolf. God, I had those Cap Wolf issues. I wonder if I still have them. Those would be fun to look at. But I call him partner. And Rick Jones, he was able to say that. And he's just talking about how great Captain America is. How he wouldn't be Falcon without Captain America. He was inspirational. He was a hero. He was all that. So, little flashback. This must be when he first became the Falcon and fighting alongside Captain America there. So now he does this thing. He does something unique. It's like, I'd like those of you who served with Steve in World War II to please stand up. So some of these old soldiers in World War II stand up. So, and, you know, young Justice, young Avengers are there, and they're like, God, that must be 1,000 years ago. Howling Commandos, is that Dugan? Sorry, my watch got a message again. And those he saved from the horrors of war. So he's just like telling these certain people to stand up. First it was soldiers he fought alongside, Howling Commandos, people he saved. My God, stupid watch. I think it's telling me to get up off my ass and start walking around. I don't want to walk. So you see these people, and they're branded. They must be Jews from the Holocaust, much like Magneto was. So it goes back to World War II, and yeah, same two people, right there, has the same number, tattooed or branded or whatever. But Captain America coming in to save them, just a symbol of heroism right there. Must have crashed his motorcycle to come jumping in. And if he's like, okay, I'd like you to remain standing. I'd like those of you who are superheroes from those days and their families to join and stand up. So we got a few more people standing. I'm not sure. Is this Union Jack? I'm not sure who this is. Those who continue the legacy of people back then, as well as those who have long since given up wearing a cape or mask. People who used to be are just older. Even before there were Avengers, Steve touched the lives of the invaders and brought about the all-winner squad. The original Human Torch, Toro, the Wizard, Miss America, Bucky Barnes. Steve always knew that he'd live on long past the men and women he came to care and live for. So there are the invaders, they were called. There's Bucky, the original Human Torch, and Submariner. Oh, fuck. Jesus, that scared me. I just saw that. Red Skull looking right at me. Ah! So he's having people stand. And then he's like talking about how he was found in the block of ice. Iron Man remembers that it was the yesterday greatest day of his life. And then they're looking at like Ms. Marvel and Iron Man, like, do you think they're having like hooking up? And I'm like, shut up. We all owe Prince Namor, the Submariner, who got him out of the ice. Shows Namor freeing him. Let's see. And now I'd like those of you who continue to fight the good fight, as Steve would say, to stand up. Avengers, Young Avengers, Fantastic Four. So here you got some of the Avengers. There's Storm with Black Panther. They got married at that time. The Young Avengers, Fantastic Four are all here. Well, other lesser knowns, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Sharon Carter. That's interesting. Jarvis, the Butler. Pardon me. And many, many more. Heroes, friends who wanted to be here for whatever reason felt that they couldn't, so you got the New Avengers. And Spider-Man, that's a cool little image. He's like, we should have gone. Wolverine says, yeah, so they could arrest us right there on the spot. We couldn't take that chance. We could have negotiated something. They wanted to be there, but it would have made a circus out of the funeral. And Spider-Man's like, I still think we should have gone. So now, after he was telling all these people to stand up, these certain groups of people, he's like, so look around now. And almost everyone in that funeral, that crowd is standing up. Captain America has touched them in one way or another. They're all connected somehow through Captain America. So because of that, he'll actually never die. This doesn't have to be a day of sadness. We can accept it as a gift of unity and hope, the kind of day Captain America lived for. So, there was the funeral. 3 days later in the Arctic, Quinjet or whatever is coming down. And you got Iron Man, Wasp, and Yellow Jacket there, but it's Hank Pym. Those were like the three original Avengers. And they actually have Captain America's body, the real one. I guess like it was a LMD in the at this funeral. So he's like, so what are we doing and why us? What are we doing here? He's like, there are things I want to say, but I couldn't say it in front of all those people. I wanted us all to be here. The original Avengers, Hulk, Thor, Scarlet Witch, Hawkeye. Those ones couldn't be there. You know, obviously, I think Hulk is in space. Thor is dead. Scarlet Witch went crazy. She's missing at this point. I can't remember where she went after House of M. And then Hawkeye, he's not dead, but he's just gone. Teammates and friends. He's giving a nice little funeral just with their closest, you know, friends from the Avengers. And he says, I miss your battle cry, Avengers Assemble. I'm going to complain about the fucking Endgame movie. This is what Captain America should have done at one point in one of those fucking Avengers movies. Charge forward, led people into battle, yelling the battle cry, Avengers Assemble, not just whispering it. The one time they do it, and it's a whisper. That's my biggest fucking complaint. But very heroic shot. Thor, Giant Man, Hulk, all the originals back there. This is basically, I know Giant Man wasn't in the Avengers, but I was like, this is almost the Age of Ultron lineup. Got Black Widow instead of Giant Man. And Vision, they got to do him too. Anyways, so they made arrangements with Namor to come get the body and take it back into the ice where he was found by Namor all those years ago. And he says, as long as I rule the oceans, Steve Rogers' rest will go undisturbed. So he'll be rested. And one era begins and a new one. One era ends, a new one begins. We're going to have to accept that that now, right, Tony? And he's just thinking to himself and just acceptance. That's what it is. They just finally accepted that he's dead. So, Jeff Loeb, this wasn't a bad little storyline. Going through the stages of loss, anger, denial. Let's see. Denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and then finally acceptance. Were there more stages of loss and grief? Probably. But I like the storyline. I like that they got a different artist for each one. It was a good little end to the Civil War storyline. From there, you had the Mighty Avengers. You had New Avengers still going on. That led eventually into Secret Invasion and the Dark Avengers and all that kind of stuff, which was really good. Bendis had a long thought out storyline, and I wonder how much of that was his. And I know Marvel used to get these, do these retreats and figure out where the next storylines were going to go. And Bendis was probably a huge creative portion of that. And but Jeff Loeb did a kick-ass job on these. So this was during a time that I was really into comics. I think I was buying a lot of stuff. I worked at a comic book store at the time. I was just really into these storylines and what was going on and what was going on with Marvel in particular. So I was buying a lot of random shit, and I really miss that time in my life. I don't read comics like I used to, which sucks because I want to be in the industry, but I don't support it like I used to just because it got to be too much. An event like Civil War felt like a big deal, but then they just had one of these events way too often, like every year, a summer event, because that's how they made money. I mean, you can't fault them. Comic business is struggling for a long time. Not a lot of people buy them. I don't really know how it is now, but for a while, you had to do these big events just to get some more money in. It's like the movie industry. You wish they could do more original stuff, but if we as the audience and viewers don't pay to go see original stuff, studios are just going to make movies that we recognize. That's why we have so many remakes and reboots and sequels and all that shit. Once we finally stop paying for that and spend our money on original ideas, then we'll have more of those amazing movies like we did back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Anyways, that has nothing to do with nothing. I just wish comics, I had the same love for them like I did back in these days. So, what do you think of this storyline? You felt this was a little cheesy, or was it a good little send off with Captain America? What's your favorite era of comic books? Are you still reading comic books today? Am I missing out on not reading stuff from Marvel and DC now? Or when did you stop reading? Let me know in the comments. As always, share, like, subscribe if you can, and check back with me because I'll have more and more videos to come. Thanks for watching.